Hey, what's up, everyone? You ever look at your pocket change and think, is this penny worth something more than just 1 cent? Well, if you've got a 1962 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny lying around, you might want to hold on to it because, believe it or not, it could be worth millions of dollars. Yes, millions. But before you rush to check your coin jar, let's take a closer look at why this specific penny is so special. And maybe you'll end up with a little extra pocket change yourself. Trust me, this is going to be a wild ride. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, a penny? Really? But don't be so quick to judge. That tiny copper coin might be hiding a story of serious value that most people miss. So, let's break it down. The 1962 D Mint Mark penny, that's the key part right there, has some serious bragging rights. First, let's talk about the mint mark. A D means it was produced in Denver, which, for some reason, makes this penny more sought after than its counterparts. Sure, it's not as flashy as, say, a gold coin, but there's something about it that makes it one of the more valuable pennies out there. Some 1962 D pennies have been known to be worth over $1 million. I know, it sounds nuts, but it's true. These are pennies that were either minted in a rare, odd way or have some unusual features that make them incredibly valuable to collectors. Now, most of us won't have one of these in our hands, or maybe we do and don't even know it. But if you do, you might just be sitting on a small fortune. These coins don't just pop up and change. It's more of a if situation. So, what makes these 1962 D pennies so special? Well, it's all about the mistakes. And no, I'm not talking about the ones your high school teacher used to highlight on your homework. These coins are valuable because of errors in minting that were unnoticed by the masses. You might be thinking, what could possibly go wrong with a penny? Oh, plenty, my friend. Some of these 1962 D pennies feature double die errors, which means the design on the coin was stamped twice, creating a double image. This can make the lettering or the features of Lincoln's face appear blurry or overly thick. Sounds like a mistake, right? Well, in the world of numismatics, that's coin collector talk. Mistakes are treasure. The rarer, the better. And some of these pennies with errors have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. And yes, a few have even hit the $1 million mark now. Don't go tossing out every 1962 D penny you find just yet. You need to look for the ones that are in pristine condition. A worn-down penny won't fetch much more than face value. But if you have one that's been well preserved, or better yet, in mint condition, you're looking at a potential gold mine. We're talking about pennies with a full, sharp design and no wear and tear that might make collectors go, wow, this looks like it just came off the minting press. I'll tell you a quick story to bring this home. A few years ago, I was just like you, flipping through my pocket change thinking, yeah, I've got some coins, but what are they really worth? And then one day, I stumbled upon an old, dirty-looking penny. It had a D mint mark and I thought, hey, maybe this is the lucky one. So I did what any rational person would do. I Googled it, and guess what? That penny wasn't worth millions. But it did spark a journey for me into the world of coin collecting. And now I can spot a valuable coin from a mile away. Even though I didn't find $1 million penny, I still made some decent money selling off a few pennies with minor errors. And that, my friends, is the magic of knowing what you're looking for in your coin collection. It's a treasure hunt, and who doesn't love a good treasure hunt? So, if you've got a 1962 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, take a closer look. It could be worth way more than just a single cent. You never know, it might just be the lucky penny that changes your life. Well, maybe not changes your life, but it could put a nice chunk of change in your pocket. If you've learned something today and want more tips on coins that could make you rich, or at least a little wealthier, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you'll want to be on top of this stuff, because the more you know, the more you'll be able to cash in on those hidden gems in your coin jar. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, keep your eyes open, your pockets deep, and your change jar well stocked, because who knows, your next $1 million penny could be just around the corner. And hey, don't forget, subscribe for more tips and tricks on finding valuable coins. You never know what you might have just lying around the house. Could you be sitting on a small fortune without even knowing it? I'm talking about the 1988 No Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yes, a penny. You've probably got a few lying around in your couch cushions or in that jar you never empty. But what if I told you that one of these tiny copper coins could be worth millions? That's right, one penny, millions of dollars. Sounds crazy, right? Stick around, because today we're going to uncover the mystery behind this elusive coin, why collectors are going nuts over it, and how you might just hit the jackpot if you've got one in your pocket. Oh, and trust me, you don't want to miss my own awkward story about penny hunting. It's hilarious and slightly embarrassing. Let's dive in. So, what's the deal with the 1988 no mint mark penny? Why is it so special? Well, let me break it down. First off, no mint mark penny simply means that the coin was minted in Philadelphia. Normally, coins from other mints, like Denver, have a little letter stamped on them, D for Denver, S for San Francisco. But Philly? Nope, they don't do mint marks. Lazy? Maybe. But that's not what makes this penny so unique. The big story here is an error, a tiny, almost imperceptible mistake that sent coin collectors into a frenzy. You see, in 1988, the US Mint was transitioning to a new style of die, and somewhere along the way, they mixed up the old and new designs. As a result, some pennies got a reverse design. That's the tail side, mint for earlier years. What does this mean for you? Well, if you happen to have one of these error pennies, you could be holding a coin worth anywhere from a few thousand to a few $1,000,000. Spotting one of these pennies isn't as simple as flipping it over and shouting, "Aha!" You'll need a magnifying glass. Yes, like Sherlock Holmes, and you're looking for something called the FG initials on the reverse. If they look slightly off, like they belong to the wrong design, congrats, you might just have a winner. Okay, pause for a second. You're probably thinking, wait, how am I supposed to know all this? Don't worry, I've been there. A few years ago, I was that person who dumped a jar of pennies on my kitchen table and spent an entire weekend inspecting every single one. Did I find a 1988 no mint mark penny? Nope. But I did find a penny from 1959 that I thought was worth something, only to realize it was just old and dirty. Yeah, I felt pretty dumb. But hey, the thrill of the hunt kept me going. Now, let's talk money. Why are these pennies worth so much? It's all about rarity and demand. Coin collectors, bless their obsessed little hearts, will pay top dollar for rare errors, especially ones that are hard to spot. A pristine 1988 no mint mark error penny sold for nearly $1.2 million at auction not too long ago. $1.2 million. Imagine the look on the auctioneer's face. Sold for a penny. But before you start dreaming of quitting your job and living off your newfound penny fortune, a word of caution. These coins need to be in excellent condition to fetch the big bucks. That means no scratches, dents, or funky discoloration from your soda spill back in the 90s. If your penny's been through the ringer, it's probably not retirement material, but it could still be worth a few $100. So, what's the takeaway here? Don't underestimate the humble penny. That jar of loose change you've been ignoring? It might just hold the key to your financial freedom. Take a few minutes to check your coins, especially those 1988 pennies. And who knows? Maybe you'll be the next person to strike it rich with a coin that most people wouldn't even glance at twice. Before you head off to dig through your couch cushions, do me a quick favor. Hit that subscribe button and join our community of treasure hunters. I've got plenty more tips, tricks, and stories about coins, collectibles, and how to turn everyday items into big bucks. Plus, you won't want to miss my next video on rare nickels that could be worth a fortune. Spoiler alert, it involves a buffalo. Thanks for watching, and remember, every penny counts, especially the ones worth $1,000,000. You're at the grocery store, you pull out some change to pay for your gum, and boom, you're holding a penny that could be worth millions. That's right, a single 1985 D. Lincoln penny could make you a millionaire. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, it's no joke. Today, we're diving into why this little copper coin has collectors going crazy and how you could stumble upon one in your pocket change. So grab your coin jar and let's find out if you've been sleeping on a small fortune. All right, first things first. Let's talk about what makes the 1985 D. Lincoln penny so special. This penny was minted in Denver, hence the D mint mark, and for the most part, it was just your average penny. But here's the catch. Some of these pennies were struck with errors or anomalies that make them insanely valuable today. We're talking about coins with off-center strikes, double dies, or even rare minting flaws that only eagle-eyed collectors can spot. And let's not forget about condition. If you've got a 1985 D Lincoln penny in pristine, uncirculated condition, it's like finding the golden ticket in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Now, you might be wondering, okay, but why are these pennies worth millions? Great question. It's all about supply and demand. Coin collectors love rarity, and when you throw in a unique error or flaw, it drives the price through the roof. Add to that the nostalgia factor. 1985 was a big year for pop culture, music, and fashion. So coins from that era carry a little extra charm. Let me tell you a quick story. A buddy of mine once found an old penny in a jar of change his grandma kept under the sink. It was a 1985 D penny with a weird doubling effect on the date. He thought it was just a quirky coin, but after a bit of research, he realized it was a double die variety worth thousands of dollars. The guy literally bought himself a used car with that penny. Imagine paying for a car with something you found in grandma's kitchen. But wait, there's more. Some of these pennies have even fetched prices in the millions at auctions. That's right. One little copper coin turned into a life-changing payday for a lucky collector. The lesson here? Always check your change before you toss it in the tip jar or vending machine. Now, how do you know if your 1985 D penny is worth anything? Start by inspecting it closely with a magnifying glass. Look for errors like doubling on the date or the word Liberty. Check the edges to see if the strike is off-center. And don't forget to examine the coin's condition. The shinier and more flawless, the better. If it looks like it just rolled off the minting press, you might be holding a jackpot. If you're serious about cashing in, take your penny to a professional coin grader or appraiser. They'll tell you exactly how rare and valuable it is. But here's the thing, don't clean it. A cleaned coin loses value faster than a brand new car off the lot. Let the professionals handle it. Oh, there you have it. The 1985 D Lincoln penny might just be your ticket to the good life. Whether it's sitting in your change jar, tucked away in an old wallet, or hiding under the couch cushions, don't underestimate the power of a single penny. If you found this video helpful, don't keep the knowledge to yourself. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more tips about coins that could make you rich. And hey, if you've got an old penny story, or even better, if you think you found a rare 1985 D penny, drop it in the comments below. Let's start a treasure hunting community right here. You're digging through your couch cushions, looking for spare change to buy a coffee, and boom, you come across a penny. It's just a penny, right? Wrong. That tiny copper coin might just be worth more than your car, or even your house. Yep, I'm talking about the 1978 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. If you've got one of these bad boys sitting in your change jar, you might want to hold on to it, because its value has shot through the roof. Millions of dollars in some cases. Today, I'll break down why this penny is so special, how you can identify one, and how much it's really worth in today's market. So grab your coin jars, because this might just change your life, or at least your wallet. Alright, let's start with the basics. The 1978 penny is part of the Lincoln Memorial series, minted between 1959 and 2008. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Most pennies have a little letter stamped on them indicating where they were minted: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But some 1978 pennies don't have a mint marked. What's the deal with no mint mark? Well, in this case, a no mint mark means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Usually, that wouldn't make a penny special. Philadelphia didn't always include mint marks back then. But collectors are obsessed with unique features, and the 1978 no mint mark penny has a few key things that make it stand out. First off, condition is everything. If your penny looks like it's been through a war zone, scratched, dented, or faded, it's probably not worth more than face value. But if you've got a pristine example, especially one graded by a professional service like PCGS or NGC, you could be sitting on a gold mine. In 2023, one sold for over $2 million at auction. Yes, millions. Oh, what makes a 1978 penny worth that kind of cash? It's all about rarity and demand. Not every 1978 no-mint mark penny is valuable. What collectors really want are coins with errors or unusual features, like double dies or off-center strikes. These errors happen during production and are like little oops moments from the mint. But instead of being thrown out, they made it into circulation. Think of them like the factory defect toys that become insanely valuable collector's items. Look at Lincoln's portrait. Is there any doubling on his face or the letters? Check the edges of the coin. Are they smooth or oddly shaped? Flip it over. Any weird lines or doubling on the if you spot anything unusual, congratulations. You might have something special. Even without errors, a shiny, uncirculated penny from 1978 could fetch thousands of dollars. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, my friend Mike, total skeptic about coin collecting, was clearing out his attic. He found an old jar of pennies and was about to chuck it out. I told him, "Hold up, let's take a look." Sure enough, we found a 1978 no-mint mark penny that looked pretty darn good. Long story short, he sent it off to get graded, and while it didn't hit the million-dollar jackpot, it sold for $5,000. $5,000 for a penny. To this day, he calls me his coin whisperer. All right, now it's your turn. Go grab those old jars, dig through your couch cushions, and raid your car's cup holder. You never know. You could be sitting on a fortune. And if you do find one, remember, it's not just about finding the penny. It's about having it graded and verified. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of valuable coins, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got tons of tips on how to find hidden treasures in your spare change, the best coins to collect, and strategies to build a coin collection that's worth serious money. Who knows? Your next penny could turn into a million-dollar payday. So, what are you waiting for? Start your treasure hunt, and let me know in the comments if you found anything cool. How often do you look at your spare change? Like, really look at it? Because let me tell you, there's a coin out there that might just turn your piggy bank into a treasure chest. Today, we're talking about a tiny piece of history that could be worth a huge amount of money, the 2008 D. Abraham Lincoln penny. Yes, that little copper coin sitting at the bottom of your purse or between your couch cushions might be a millionaire in disguise. Stick around because I'm about to show you how to spot one of these gems and why they're turning heads in the coin collector world. First things first, what makes the 2008 D. Lincoln penny so special? Well, we're diving into some coin nerd territory, but hang with me because this is juicy. The D stands for the Denver Mint, which produced this particular batch of pennies. Now, the 2008 Lincoln pennies aren't rare on their own. You probably see them all the time. But here's the kicker. It's all about those little mistakes that happen during minting. Coins with errors are like the designer sneakers of the numismatic world. Collectors go nuts for them. For the 2008 D penny, there are a few key errors and unique features you need to watch for. One is the double die variety. This means the coin's design was struck twice, creating a slight overlap or doubling effect, especially noticeable on letters like "In God We Trust" or "Liberty." Imagine someone wearing two pairs of glasses. That's what double die coins look like. Another thing to watch for is an off-center strike, where the design isn't perfectly aligned on the coin. Oh, and then there are those rare ones made on experimental or foreign planchets. That's fancy talk for the metal disc used to make coins. These are super rare but could be hiding in plain sight. Now, here's where things get spicy, the value. A regular 2008 D penny is, well, worth a penny. But one with an error? That's where you're cashing in. Depending on the type of error, these coins have sold for hundreds, thousands, and yes, even millions of dollars at auctions. One particularly stunning example went for over $1 million because of its unique combination of errors and pristine condition. Imagine finding that kind of money in your pocket change. Talk about a jackpot. I've got a little story for you. A couple of years ago, I was going through a box of old coins my grandfather left me. I wasn't expecting much, maybe a few nickels and some dusty wheat pennies. But as I sifted through, I found a shiny 2008 D penny. My heart stopped. Could this be the one? I spent hours comparing it to pictures online, examining it with a magnifying glass, and Googling everything about double dies and mint marks. Turns out, it was just a regular penny. But you know what? That excitement got me hooked. Now, every time I get change, I check. It's like playing the lottery without buying a ticket. So, what's the moral of the story? Don't underestimate your pocket change. The 2008 D. Abraham Lincoln penny could be your golden, or should I say copper, ticket to some serious cash. Take a few minutes to go through your coins. Look for those mint marks, errors, and other quirks. And hey, if you find one, you'll be the hero of your own treasure hunting adventure. If you enjoyed this little coin crash course, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tap the notification bell. I've got tons of tips on spotting valuable coins, coin collecting strategies, and even some fun stories about my own misadventures with spare change. Don't let another $1 million penny pass you by. You're sifting through some loose change, maybe digging in the couch cushions or cleaning out that old coin jar, and boom, you stumble across a penny. But not just any penny. What if I told you that little copper coin could be worth millions? Yes, millions. Sounds crazy, right? But today, we're talking about the 1973 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that's got collectors losing their minds. Stick around, because I'm going to break down why this coin is so valuable, how to spot one, and what makes it such a treasure. Plus, I'll share a story about the time I almost tossed a valuable coin without realizing it. I'm still kicking myself for that one, so what's the big deal with the 1973 penny with no mint mark? First, let's clarify what no mint mark even means. Normally, US coins have tiny letters that tell you where they were made. D for Denver, S for San Francisco, and nothing at all for Philadelphia. Yep, no mint mark equals made in Philly. Now, here's where it gets juicy. While most 1973 pennies are worth, well, a penny, there are rare ones that are worth a small fortune. Why? Two words: minting errors. These are the mistakes that happen during the coin-making process, like double strikes, off-center images, or irregularities in the lettering or design. Collectors absolutely love errors. The weirder, the better. And the 1973 no-mint mark penny? It's got a reputation for some pretty wild ones. Okay, but why would someone pay millions for a penny? The answer is supply and demand. Rare coins are like Pokemon cards or vintage sneakers. The rarer they are, the more people want them. There's a 1973 no-mint mark penny out there with an error so unique that a collector paid over $1.7 million for it. Yeah, let that sink in. $1 million for a penny. But before you run to your coin jar, let me give you some tips on what to look for. First, check the date. It has to be 1973. Next, examine the coin closely. Use a magnifying glass or even your phone's zoom function. Look for weird details like doubling in the letters, a misaligned die, or anything that doesn't look normal. And don't forget the condition. The shinier, the better. Coins in pristine condition, or mint state, are worth way more than ones that are scratched or worn down. Here's a fun little story to drive the point home. A few years ago, I was sorting through some old coins I inherited from my grandpa. I came across this beat-up penny from the 70s and thought, it's just pocket change. But something about it felt different. I Googled it, and guess what? It was a rare error coin. It wasn't worth millions, more like a few hundred. But still, I almost threw it away. Lesson learned. Always check your coins.so. Is your 1973 no-mint mark penny worth millions? Maybe, maybe not. But one thing's for sure. It's worth taking a closer look at your spare change. Who knows? You might be sitting on a hidden treasure without even knowing it. And even if you don't strike it rich, coin collecting is a fun hobby that connects you to history and maybe even your family's past. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on spotting valuable coins, strategies to cash in on hidden treasures, or just some good OL coin collecting stories, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Your future millionaire self will thank you. Imagine this. You're digging through an old jar of pennies, probably looking for some loose change to buy a coffee, and boom, you stumble upon a penny that could be worth a fortune. That's right, a single penny, just 1 cent, could make you a millionaire. Sounds like a dream, right? Well, stick around because today, we're diving into the fascinating story of the 2005 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yes, it's real, it's valuable, and who knows, you might have one hiding in plain sight. Now, before you start frantically dumping out your piggy bank, let's break down why this little copper coin is turning heads in the coin collecting world and what makes it worth its weight in gold, and then some. So, let's talk about this 2005 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. First things first, what's a no-mint mark coin, and why does it matter? Most coins are minted in one of 3 major U.S. mint locations: Denver, marked with a D, Philadelphia, with no mark for pennies, or San Francisco, marked with an S. Typically, 2005 pennies without a mint mark are just your standard Philadelphia-made pennies. But some very special ones made their way into circulation with a wild error. This is where the plot thickens. A batch of 2005 pennies had some unique production issues, ranging from off-center strikes to double-die errors, and they slipped past quality control. For collectors, these oops moments at the mint are like winning the coin lottery. And here's the kicker. These pennies, with their errors and pristine condition, are now being sold at auctions for mind-blowing prices. One recently fetched over $1.1 million. Yep, a penny, a single, humble Lincoln penny, made someone a millionaire. Now, I know what you're thinking. How do I know if my penny is one of these golden tickets? Great question. Let me break it down for you. Inspect your penny under good lighting or, even better, a magnifying glass. Look closely for any oddities, like a doubled image of Lincoln's face or letters on the coin. Coins in near-perfect condition are worth significantly more. So, if your penny looks like it just rolled off the mint press, you might be in luck. If the edge looks slightly off-center or misaligned, that's another sign you could have something special. I learned this the hard way. A few months ago, I spent a weekend going through hundreds of pennies my grandma kept in an old tin. It smelled like mothballs and nostalgia, but I was determined to find treasure. I thought I hit the jackpot when I found a weird-looking 2005 penny with no mint mark. It wasn't worth a dime, literally, but the hunt itself? So much fun. And it taught me that patience and knowing exactly what to look for can make all the difference. Collectors love these pennies because of their rarity and the historical quirks they represent. Think about it. It's not every day a manufacturing error becomes a million-dollar masterpiece. Plus, the Lincoln penny itself holds sentimental value. It's been around for over a century, and Abraham Lincoln is, well, Abraham Lincoln. Iconic. Add a rare error into the mix, and it's like owning a piece of American history with a twist. Right now, the value of these error coins depends on their condition and rarity. Some may only fetch a few $1,000s, but the creme de la creme, those ultra-rare, pristine ones, can go for millions at auction. And the market for rare coins? It's hotter than ever, with collectors willing to pay top dollar for unique finds. All right, coin enthusiasts, now you know the scoop on the 2005 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Who knew that a simple penny could be your ticket to financial freedom? So, the next time you're sifting through spare change or cracking open that old piggy bank, don't just look for quarters. Keep an eye out for the pennies, too. You never know when you might stumble upon a life-changing treasure. And hey, if you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of rare coins, make sure to smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. We're all about helping you uncover hidden gems in your everyday life, from valuable coins to money-making strategies. Don't miss out. Your next big find might just be one click away. What if I told you that a regular-looking penny, like the one sitting in your junk drawer right now, could actually be worth millions of dollars? That's right. A single penny from 1994 with no mint mark might just make you a millionaire. Sounds crazy, right? Well, stick around because today we're diving into the story of the 1994 Abraham Lincoln penny, why it's so valuable, and how you can find one. Spoiler alert, you might already have one in your pocket. Okay, so first things first, what makes this coin special? At first glance, the 1994 penny looks like your average copper-colored coin. It's got Honest Abe sitting there, all stoic and presidential, and it feels like every other penny you've ever ignored when getting change at the gas station. But if you flip it over, you'll notice there's no little letter underneath the date. That's called a mint mark, and it tells us where the coin was made. If there's no mint mark, it means the coin was minted in Philadelphia. In 1994, the Philadelphia Mint accidentally produced a batch of pennies with a unique error. Some coins were struck on the wrong type of metal planchet. That little mistake turned these ordinary pennies into incredibly rare collectibles. Now, before you go dumping your piggy bank onto the floor, let's talk numbers. A standard 1994 penny? Worth, well, a penny. Maybe 2 cents if copper prices go wild. But a rare error penny? These bad boys have sold at auction for anywhere from $50,000 to over $1 million, depending on the condition and rarity. I know what you're thinking. A penny for $1 million? Where do I sign up? No mint mark under the date. Check for that first. weird color, or weight, the error pennies might look slightly different because of the wrong metal. Smooth, sharp details. A well-preserved coin will fetch a higher price. A buddy of mine, who normally couldn't care less about coins, was at a yard sale. He bought an old coffee tin full of coins for $5, thinking he'd use it as laundry day money. While digging through the tin, he found a 1994 penny that looked a little off. Long story short, he got it appraised and boom, it sold for over $100,000 at an auction. Not bad for something he almost threw in a Coinstar machine, right? Why is the market so hot for these coins? Collectors love error coins because they're like unicorns, rare and exciting to find. Plus, the story behind them adds to the intrigue. And let's be real, who wouldn't want to brag about owning $1 million penny? The coin market is thriving right now, with more people than ever searching for hidden treasures in their spare change. So, if you're holding onto any old coins, now's the time to start digging through them. That little 1994 penny sitting in your couch cushions might just be the golden ticket to your next tropical vacation or your early retirement. The key is knowing what to look for. No mint mark, unusual metal, and a sharp, well-preserved design. So, what are you waiting for? Grab a magnifying glass and start hunting through your change. And hey, if you find one, promise me you'll invite me to your mansion. Okay, before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. We're all about helping you uncover hidden treasures in the most unexpected places, like your wallet. Stick around for more coin tips, strategies, and stories that might just change your life. Hey there, coin collectors and curious treasure hunters. Now, before you click away thinking, a penny's a penny, what's the big deal? Let me stop you right there. What if I told you there's a penny out there that could make you millions of dollars? Yes, you heard me right, millions. It's a 1982 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, it's not your run-of-the-mill pocket change. This little guy could be sitting in your collection, your jar of loose change, or maybe even in that dusty drawer you never check. So, sit tight because today, we're diving into why this coin is worth way more than its face value, and how you might be sitting on a literal gold mine. All right, let's rewind a bit to 1982, when this penny was first minted. Now, 1982 is a key year for U.S. pennies. You see, in 1982, the U.S. made a big change in the composition of the penny. They switched from 95% copper to a mix of copper and zinc because, let's face it, copper was getting expensive. The 1982 D penny is different. Why? Because of a small minting error. Instead of being the usual copper-zinc blend, there were a small number of pennies that were mistakenly made with a higher percentage of copper, making them more valuable than other pennies from that year. This accidental mix-up caused them to be much rarer than your average 1982 D penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, cool, but why is it worth so much? Well, here's where it gets interesting. This penny, thanks to its rare composition, could be worth a lot more than a penny. In fact, some of these 1982 D pennies have been sold for over $1 million at auction. $1 million. Now, don't go running to your coin jar just yet. Not every 1982 D penny is worth that kind of money. It depends on the condition, the exact composition, and whether it's been properly authenticated. Now, I've got to be honest here. I didn't always know how rare these things were. Let me tell you a little story about how I got into coin collecting, and it involves a mistake that could have cost me big time. So, I was at a flea market a few years back, just browsing around when I spotted this old jar of pennies. The seller, an older guy who looked like he'd been collecting coins longer than I'd been alive, was asking for a pretty low price. Now, I didn't know much about coins back then. I thought, a penny's a penny. This isn't anything special. But something told me to grab it, so I did. Fast forward a couple of weeks, and I'm digging through the jar when I stumble upon a 1982 D penny. Something about it looked off, like it was just different. I decided to get it checked out by a coin expert, and guess what? It turns out it was one of those super rare 1982 D pennies. I had nearly thrown it away, thinking it was just another piece of loose change. Lucky for me, I didn't make that mistake. That little penny is now worth a small fortune. So, moral of the story? Don't overlook your pennies, because you never know when you could strike gold. Or in this case, copper. Now, let's talk about how you can spot one of these million-dollar pennies. First off, you need to look at the mint mark. It's right under Lincoln's bust, and if it's a D, well, you might just have yourself a treasure. But don't stop there. Condition matters. Coins in better shape are worth a lot more. The cleaner, the shinier, the higher the potential value. Next, if you think you've found one, get it authenticated. It's worth the extra step to ensure it's the real deal and not just another penny that's been circulating for decades. All right, so there you have it. That little penny from 1982 with a D mint mark could be worth a whole lot more than you think, and in some cases, a whole lot more than just pocket change. So before you toss those pennies into the jar or toss them into your laundry machine, we've all done it. Take a second to check them out. You might just find yourself holding on to a small piece of history that's worth a fortune. And hey, if you found this tip helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty more tips, tricks, and secrets about coins that could help you turn your collection into something seriously valuable. So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and who knows, maybe next time, you'll be the one telling your friends about your million-dollar penny. Hey there, coin collectors and curious treasure hunters. Did you know that one of the most iconic coins in American history, something you probably have lying around in your pocket right now, could be worth millions? That's right. Today we're talking about the 1978 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, a coin that's so rare, it might just have you doing a double take. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll be scouring your piggy bank like a pro. Who knows, you might have just found a fortune hiding in your change. But first, let me tell you about the first time I found a penny in a pile of change that made me think, hey, this could be worth something. So, a few years ago, I was going through a jar of loose change that had been collecting dust in my kitchen for, well, let's just say a while. It was one of those moments when you're just looking for loose quarters to grab some snacks from the vending machine. And then, out of nowhere, I pull out this dusty, old penny, just a regular 1978 penny, or so I thought. It didn't have the mint mark. Now, I didn't exactly know what that meant, but I'd seen enough late-night infomercials to recognize that it could mean something special. Fast forward, and I was Googling like a madman, and bam! I was looking at a coin that could be worth a ton of money. But here's the kicker. It wasn't just the lack of the mint mark that made it valuable. It's the story behind it. All right, let's break it down. So, normally, coins made at the US Mint have a mint mark, right? For example, the D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But in 1978, a strange thing happened. Some pennies were produced without any mint mark at all. Now, this wasn't supposed to happen. The 1978 pennies made at the Philadelphia Mint were supposed to have a P mint mark, but for whatever reason, a handful of these pennies were made without one. This error makes them incredibly rare and sought after by collectors. Why does that matter? Well, when something's rare, people want it. And if it's an error coin, well, you've got a real treasure on your hands. The market value for a 1978 no-mint mark penny can range from several $100s to even millions depending on its condition, rarity, and demand. We're talking about a coin that, in mint condition, can fetch a hefty price, sometimes well into the six-figure range, and in rare cases, even more. Can you imagine the look on your face if you found out your penny was worth a small fortune? It's like finding a hidden gold mine in your pocket. It's a little bit like that time I found an old concert ticket in my wallet that turned out to be worth more than I thought. Except, this penny won't expire or fade away. You've got a little piece of history right there in your hands. Now, you might be wondering, how do I know if I have a 1978 no-mint mark penny? Here's what you'll want to look for. First, check the date on the penny. Easy enough, right? Then, flip it over and check for a mint mark. There should be nothing under the date. No D, no S, just a clean space. If that's the case, congratulations. You could be holding a potentially valuable coin. Now, before you go rummaging through every penny you own, remember that not every 1978 penny is going to be worth millions. The condition of the coin matters a lot. The better the condition, the higher the value. So, if your penny looks like it's been through a washing machine or a couple of bad decades, it's not going to fetch top dollar. But hey, even a well-worn one could still be worth a good chunk of change. And here's a little secret I've learned along the way. The world of coin collecting is full of hidden gems. You never know what's worth something until you take the time to look. That's why I encourage you to start going through your change with a little more care. Who knows, maybe you've already got $1 million penny sitting in your drawer right now. If you found this video helpful or you're just excited to start your own coin hunt, make sure you hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you don't miss out on more tips and tricks on coins that are worth way more than their face value. And if you're already a coin collector, let me know in the comments if you've ever found something rare. I'd love to hear your stories. All right, treasure hunters, thanks for hanging out with me today. Happy coin hunting, and may your next penny find make you a millionaire. Hey, coin collectors and treasure hunters, imagine digging through your change jar and pulling out a penny that could be worth $1 million. Sounds crazy, right? But what if I told you that one specific penny from 1975 could make that dream a reality? Yep, you heard me right. A 1975 penny with no mint mark is worth way more than its face value. We're talking about serious money here. So grab your magnifying glass, because today, we're diving deep into the mysterious world of the 1975 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. I'll show you how this tiny coin could make you a millionaire. Well, in theory. But first, hit that subscribe button so you never miss a chance to turn your pocket change into a small fortune. Alright, so let's set the scene. You've got your hands on a 1975 penny. You're probably thinking, oh cool, it's just another penny. Toss it in the jar. But wait, this isn't just any regular penny. In fact, this coin is so rare that it could be worth millions of dollars if it's the right kind. But before you start checking your wallet, let's break down why that penny might be so valuable. First off, let's talk about mint marks. Every US coin has a mint mark that tells you where it was made. Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. The 1975 penny, however, was mostly produced in Philadelphia. And if you look closely at the coin, you'll see a mint mark. But here's where it gets juicy. There's a specific 1975 penny with an O mint mark, and this coin is rare. It was produced during a time when there was a small mistake or miscommunication in the minting process. So, instead of putting a P for Philadelphia, they just forgot to put anything at all. And that's where the magic happens. Now, what makes this penny so valuable? It's all about rarity. You see, there weren't many 1975 pennies made without a mint mark. Some collectors believe it was a mistake, while others think it might have been intentional. Either way, its rarity and historical oddity make it a prized possession for collectors around the world. Now, I know what you're thinking. How do I know if I have one of these valuable pennies? Well, it's not exactly like a Where's Waldo situation. You can check for the missing mint mark on the reverse side, right under the date. It should be blank, with no D or S next to the 1975. If it's there, congrats, my friend. You might have found a hidden treasure. But let's get to the juicy part. How much is it worth? Depending on the condition of the penny, these rare 1975 no mint mark coins have been known to sell for anywhere between thousands and millions of dollars. Yep, you heard that correctly. Now, the condition of the coin plays a huge role in its value. So if yours is all beat up from years of being tossed around in the couch cushions, you might not hit the $1 million mark. But even in less than perfect condition, these coins can still fetch a pretty penny. Pun intended. And hey, I know what you're thinking. How did people even discover this hidden gem? Well, let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, a guy just like you, let's call him Bob, was sorting through his coin collection. Bob had a 1975 penny, and he thought it was just another run-of-the-mill coin. But he noticed something odd. The mint mark was missing. He did some research, and what do you know? That little penny was worth a small fortune. Bob ended up selling his penny for $2 million at auction. That's right, $2 million for a penny. Now, I'm not saying you're going to get that kind of money, but wouldn't it be nice to check your change and find a coin worth more than your car? Or better yet, your mortgage? It's a total game changer. But before you go running off to your coin collection, let me remind you, this doesn't happen every day. There are a lot of fakes out there, and unless you're sure that penny you've got is the real deal, it's best to get it checked by a professional. You don't want to be the guy who thought he had a $1 million penny, only to find out it was just a regular old one from your pocket change. So there you have it, folks. The 1975 no mint mark penny. a tiny piece of history that could potentially make you a fortune. Who knew a penny could pack so much punch, right? But remember, it's all about finding the right coin in the right condition at the right time. If you've got a penny jar at home, now might be the time to dig through it. Who knows, you might have your very own treasure waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this wild coin adventure and want more tips on how to spot rare coins that could change your life, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. And hey, leave a comment below. Have you ever found a rare coin in your collection? Or maybe you've got a coin that you think could be worth something big. Let's chat about it. Thanks for watching, and remember, whether it's pennies or rare finds, you never know when your next big discovery will come rolling in. Yes, you, scrolling through the internet, looking for something cool, maybe a little weird. Well, buckle up because today we're diving into a coin so rare. It could be sitting in your spare change right now and, get this, it's worth millions of dollars. Yes, millions. But here's the kicker. You won't find a mint mark on it. What am I talking about? The infamous 1968 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you might be checking your pockets or diving into that coin jar. It's 1968. You've got bell-bottom jeans, a groovy disco beat in the air, and the world is shifting in ways we can't even imagine today. In the middle of all this, something strange happens at the US Mint. About 20 million pennies were struck without mint marks. Why? Well, there's a little confusion here. It wasn't exactly an accident, but rather a little mix-up when the mint forgot to add the D or S for Denver or San Francisco on some of the coins. At the time, it probably didn't seem like much. I mean, they were just pennies, right? What's the big deal? Well, fast forward a few decades, and that oops has turned into a treasure hunt. You see, the 1968 penny, without a mint mark, is extremely rare today. It's not your average run-of-the-mill penny, and here's the kicker. People are paying big money for it. I'm talking about thousands of dollars, and in some cases, even millions. I know, you're probably thinking, is this some kind of joke? But I assure you, it's not. Oh, what's going on? Well, with so few of these coins out there, collectors are scrambling to find them. They're like gold in the coin collecting world. Think about it. You could have a coin that's worth more than a brand new car, or a down payment on a house, just sitting in your pocket or even in the back of your couch. And no, you're not going to find it at the local coin shop like it's just another shiny penny. The 1968 no mint mark penny isn't something you'll just stumble across. So, how do you know if you've got one? This one's easy, right? If it says 1968, you're halfway there. Flip it over to the back. No D or S? Bingo, you're on the right track. Condition. As with any rare coin, the condition matters. A penny that's been passed around a few too many times won't fetch as much as one that's in pristine condition, but even a well-worn 1968 no mint mark penny could be worth quite a bit. Here's the thing. When it comes to these coins, it's not just about rarity. It's also about demand. The 1968 no mint mark penny is incredibly sought after by collectors who know the value of these rare pieces. It's one of those coins that even casual collectors will search for, and if you have one, congratulations, you've got something that might make you a fortune. Now, I want to share a quick personal story here. A few years ago, I was at a flea market. You know the type, bargain bins, lots of dusty items that nobody wants. I was just casually browsing when I noticed an older guy going through a box of loose pennies. Most of them were from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, nothing special. But then, my eyes caught one penny, nestled in the corner of the box, and boom, I knew what it was. I didn't make a scene, but I knew I just found a gem. I slid that penny into my pocket and got out of there as fast as I could. Later that night, I checked it, and yup, it was a 1968 no mint mark penny. That little find turned out to be worth way more than I expected. And no, I didn't sell it right away, but let me tell you, the excitement of finding something so rare was worth the entire flea market trip. So, the moral of the story? Keep an eye out for those pennies, because that 1968 no mint mark one could be the jackpot you've been waiting for. I mean, imagine finding a coin worth more than your car or your mortgage. It might not be your typical lucky penny, but this one's got serious potential. If you want more tips on how to spot valuable coins, or if you're looking to learn about the secret world of coin collecting, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We've got a lot more awesome content coming your way. Who knows, the next coin tip might just make you a fortune. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and remember, always check your change. You never know when a coin could change your life. Did you know you could be holding onto a coin that's worth more than your entire collection combined? Yeah, I'm talking about the 1979 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. That little penny could be sitting in your pocket right now, just waiting to make you a millionaire. All right, maybe not a millionaire, but it could still be worth thousands of dollars. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to spot this penny and why it's worth all the buzz. So let's dive in. The 1979 D Mint Mark penny. Sounds like just another penny, right? But if you've been flipping through your spare change, there's a chance that this little coin could be hiding in plain sight. And no, it's not some kind of rare mistake from the mint. Instead, it's valuable because of its rarity and historical significance. Not all pennies are created equal. The 1979 D penny is one of those hidden gems that collectors and coin enthusiasts are always hunting for. It's all about the condition, the rarity, and the fact that not many of these coins are in good enough shape to fetch high prices. But let's break it down even further. Why is this specific penny valuable? First off, the mint produced a huge number of pennies in 1979, but not all of them were distributed in perfect condition. The 1979 D pennies with an error, or those that were struck with special circumstances, like being made with a specific set of dies, can be worth thousands. And if yours is in pristine, uncirculated condition, well, now you're talking big money, potentially up to $1 million. Now, here's where the fun part comes in. Let me tell you a quick story from my own life. A couple of years ago, I was at a garage sale where all the best treasure hunting happens, and I spotted this old jar filled with pennies. They were just sitting there, collecting dust. I almost passed them by, but something told me to check them out. I started sorting through the jar, and boom, there it was. A 1979 D penny that looked pretty worn out. Still, I decided to hang on to it, figuring it was a neat piece of history. Flash forward a few weeks, and I'm at a local coin shop talking with a buddy about rare finds when I show him the penny. He practically falls out of his chair. Turns out that 1979 D penny wasn't just any penny. It was a super rare variety that was worth way more than I thought. If it had been in better condition, it could have been worth thousands. The lesson? Never underestimate the value of a seemingly normal penny. So, let's talk specifics about what makes the 1979 D penny worth so much. First, it's about the rarity of the coin. Yes, millions were minted, but only a small percentage were in perfect condition. The other factor is the potential errors. Coins with double die or certain die cracks are especially valuable. It's like finding a hidden Easter egg, but instead of candy, it's a treasure chest of cash. Now, don't think all 1979 D pennies are worth a fortune. The key is in the condition and the type of error the coin might have. Most of these pennies are only worth a couple of bucks, but the ones with mistakes or in perfect shape can fetch thousands or more. In fact, some rare 1979 D pennies have sold for over $1 million. I mean, imagine turning a single penny into a small fortune. All right, so how do you spot this penny? First off, check the mint mark. You're looking for a D stamped on the coin, which means it was made in Denver. Next, look for signs of wear and tear. If it's in perfect condition, it's much more valuable. Then, inspect it for any doubling on the lettering or other strange errors. If you spot something unusual, it's worth having it looked at by an expert. And don't forget, these coins are more than just valuable because they're rare. They also have a fascinating history. The 1979 penny was part of a period when the US was going through major changes in its coinage system. And now, it's like a little piece of American history just waiting to be discovered. So, now you know about the hidden potential of the 1979 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Who knew that something so small could be worth so much? Keep an eye out for that penny in your spare change, and remember that it's not just about what the coin is. It's about its condition and rarity. If you think you've found a gem, don't just toss it aside. Before you go running to check your pockets or dig through your coin jar, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. You won't want to miss out on more tips and tricks about coins worth money, strategies for collecting, and how to spot hidden treasures. I'll be back with more info on how you can turn your collection into some serious cash. So, you're sitting there, maybe rummaging through your coin jar, and you find an old penny. But hold up, is it possible that a simple, humble penny from 1976 could be worth a small fortune? I know, I know. It sounds like something out of a coin collector's fever dream, right? But stick with me, because what I'm about to tell you is crazy enough to make your jaw drop. That penny in your hand? It could be worth millions of dollars. Yep, you heard me right, millions. And no, this isn't some weird online scam. This is the real deal. So grab your magnifying glass, because we're diving deep into the mystery of the 1976 D Mint Mark Abraham Lincoln penny and what makes it a potential gold mine in your pocket. Alright, so here's the deal. You've probably got a bunch of pennies lying around, and most of them, let's be honest, are pretty much worth what's printed on them, right? But the 1976 D Mint Mark penny is something special. Now, I'm sure you're asking, what the heck makes a 1976 penny so special? Wasn't it just a regular year for pennies? During 1976, the U.S. Mint produced a special batch of coins for the bicentennial celebration. That's right, the 200th anniversary of America's independence. A lot of coins were minted with special designs for this occasion, but when it comes to the penny, that's where the story gets a bit spicy. The key thing to know about the 1976 D penny is its rarity. It has the typical image of Abraham Lincoln on the front, but the coin's condition, along with the mint mark on the back, can make it super valuable, especially if it's in mint or near mint condition. I mean, if you find one of these babies that's practically flawless, you're looking at a pretty sweet payday. There are rare versions of this penny that can go for upwards of millions of dollars on the market. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how is this possible? Well, here's the thing. Not all pennies from 1976 are created equal. The vast majority of them were minted in mass quantities, and they were circulated widely. But some of them, just a select few, had special features that make them much rarer than the rest. This isn't your average, everyday penny. The value lies in its rarity and condition. If you get your hands on a 1976 D penny that has no signs of wear, scratches, or discoloration, it could be worth way more than a few cents. The condition of the coin, its luster, and its overall appearance are all factors that make it valuable to collectors. Now, I've got to be honest with you. I went on a coin hunting spree when I first learned about this 1976 penny phenomenon. One day, I found a penny that looked like it might just be the golden ticket. I could barely contain my excitement as I inspected it with a magnifying glass, checking for every little detail. The mint mark was there, the condition seemed decent, but after a quick Google search, I realized it was about as rare as a unicorn on a skateboard. That penny? Worth about, well, a penny. But hey, I still have it as a reminder that luck plays a big role in this game. But don't let my little almost there moment discourage you. The truth is, there are people out there who have found that elusive 1976 D penny in near-perfect condition. These are the ones that have sold for eye-popping prices. Some have gone for several $1,000s, others for millions. Yes, I'm talking about that life-changing amount of money. So, how do you know if your 1976 D penny is worth a fortune? A couple of things to look for. Check the back of your penny for that little D. This tells you it was minted in Denver. The closer to perfect, the better. Look for smooth edges, no noticeable wear, and a solid, even color. If it looks like it just came out of the mint, you've got a gem. While millions of these pennies were made, only a tiny fraction are in the pristine condition needed to fetch big bucks. But don't be discouraged if you don't find a gold mine right away. Coin collecting is all about the thrill of the hunt. Every now and then, you'll stumble upon a piece that makes all the searching worth it. So, what's the bottom line? Your 1976 D Abraham Lincoln penny could be worth a lot more than you thought. Whether it's worth a few bucks or a few million, the key is knowing what to look for and how to protect it. It's like any treasure hunt. You gotta keep your eyes peeled, do your research, and maybe even get a little lucky along the way. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out on more tips and tricks to help you score big with coins. Who knows? The next time you check your pocket change, you might just be holding on to your very own millionaire maker. Hey, coin collectors, enthusiasts, or even the casual scrounger who's found a penny in the couch cushion. This one's for you. What if I told you that a penny, Yes, a single penny from 1963 could be worth millions of dollars. Sounds crazy, right? But stay with me because this isn't some wild fantasy I'm cooking up. We're talking about the elusive 1963 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, it could be the ticket to your financial freedom, or at least a really nice vacation fund. But how can a simple penny, something most of us toss around like loose change, be worth that much? Well, buckle up, my friend, because we're about to dive deep into the world of rare coins, unexpected treasures, and the crazy market that's made this 1963 penny worth more than you might ever imagine. First, let's set the stage. So, we all know about pennies, right? They're the smallest denomination of US currency. They're cheap, they're shiny for about 5 seconds after they're minted, and they're, well, everywhere. But that's where things get interesting. In 1963, something happened at the US Mint that could have slipped by without anyone noticing. See, there's a little detail that makes some 1963 pennies wildly valuable: the absence of a mint mark. Now, let me explain why this is such a big deal. When the US Mint produces coins, they usually stamp a mint mark on them to show where they were made. You've got your D for Denver, your S for San Francisco, and the lack of a mint mark means the coin was produced in Philadelphia. That's the basic breakdown. But here's the kicker. Most 1963 pennies have the D mint mark because they were made in Denver. But a small number of 1963 pennies were produced without any mint mark at all. And guess what? These are the ones that are worth a fortune. Now, you might be asking, why would anyone want a penny with no mint mark? Well, let me tell you something. It's all about rarity. The 1963 no mint mark penny is an error coin. And error coins are like the unicorns of the numismatic world: rare, valuable, and highly sought after by collectors. In fact, some of these rare coins have been sold for up to $1 million. Let that sink in for a second. A penny worth $1 million. It's like finding a golden ticket in a chocolate bar, but with a whole lot more copper. Now, here's where things get even more interesting. These pennies didn't just fall out of the sky. They were produced in such a limited quantity that even collectors had a hard time identifying them when they first surfaced. The US Mint didn't officially recognize the error until much later, and by that time, these pennies had already made their way into the pockets and piggy banks of unsuspecting people. And if you're thinking, well, how do I know if I've got one of these bad boys? Great question. Keep an eye out for a penny from 1963 that doesn't have a mint mark on the front, specifically on the obverse. That's the side with Honest Abe, in case you didn't know. Also, make sure it's in good condition. Mint condition is key when it comes to rare coins. You want it to be as close to perfect as possible. Actually have a personal story here. A few years ago, I was cleaning out my grandmother's old coin jar. You know, the one that's been collecting dust in the attic since the Nixon administration, and I found a 1963 penny. Naturally, I didn't think much of it. I figured it was just a regular old penny until I did a little research. And boom, I had a mini heart attack. I thought, could it be? But after further inspection, I realized it was a regular one, not a no mint mark. But it was a reminder to me that sometimes treasure is hiding in plain sight. Moral of the story: always check your change. Now, you may be thinking, okay, but how do I even sell a penny for millions? Who's buying this stuff? Well, here's the thing. Rare coins like the 1963 no mint mark penny are bought and sold through professional numismatists, auctions, and even private buyers who specialize in rare currency. The market is hot, especially for coins with historical significance or production errors. So, if you find one of these pennies, you'll want to get it appraised by a professional who can authenticate its value. Because no one's going to believe you when you say, "I've got $1 million penny," without some solid proof. But hey, not all of us have the good fortune of stumbling upon a rare coin like that. But the important takeaway here is that there are plenty of other coins out there with surprising value. So don't go tossing your change without thinking twice. It's a good idea to get into the habit of checking your pennies, nickels, and dimes. You never know when you'll stumble across a hidden gem. So, there you have it. The 1963 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny is a legit treasure that could make you rich, if you're lucky enough to find one. And while you're out there searching through your old coin collections or diving into the junk drawer, remember, always keep an eye out for those rare, valuable coins that could be sitting right in front of you. And hey, if you learned something new today, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the crew. We've got plenty more coin tips, strategies, and wild stories coming your way. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting to learn the ropes, I'm here to share everything you need to know to spot that next big score. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and who knows, your next $1,000,000 coin might just be waiting for you in your pocket. Have you ever thought a penny might be worth more than, well, a penny? Stick around, because today, we're diving into a mind-blowing discovery about a 1980 Lincoln penny that could actually be worth, drumroll please, millions of dollars. I know, you're probably thinking, a penny? $1,000,000? Is this guy for real? Well, yes, my friend. I promise you're going to want to check the back of your couch cushions after this one, so grab a seat, kick back, and let's talk about why you might just be holding on to a small fortune without even realizing it. All right, let's get to it. We're talking about the infamous 1980 no mint mark penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. 1980? That's not exactly ancient history. Where's the silver, the gold, the shiny stuff that makes my heart race? Trust me, I get it. But sometimes, it's the smallest and least flashy things that hold the biggest surprises. You see, most of the 1980 pennies that were minted came with a mint mark, that little D or S or P on them, depending on where they were made. But there was a small, rare batch that didn't have a mint mark at all. That's the one we're after. Now, here's where the plot thickens. These no mint mark 1980 pennies are so rare that they're practically like unicorns in the world of coins. There's only a small number of these pennies out there, and because of their rarity, some collectors are willing to pay millions of dollars for one in good condition. Yeah, you heard me right, millions. You might be wondering, how in the world does a penny, something you probably toss around without a second thought, become so valuable? Well, this coin is considered a mule error, a mistake in the minting process. It was supposed to have a mint mark, but for whatever reason, a handful of these coins slipped through the cracks without one. And as we all know, when something's rare, it's suddenly way more valuable. Now, I know, you're probably thinking, but I don't have one of those. This guy's just hyping things up. Well, hang on. Let me tell you a little story about how a coin I found turned out to be worth way more than I ever imagined. A few years back, I was cleaning out some old jars of coins I had laying around. You know, the ones you just toss in there, thinking you'll get around to sorting them someday. So, I'm flipping through some old pennies, barely paying attention, when I come across a 1980 penny. I thought, oh, look, a regular penny from the 80s. Nothing special. But then I noticed something weird. No mint mark. I thought, could this be it? The excitement was real, folks. So, I took it to a professional coin dealer just to make sure I wasn't dreaming. Turns out, it wasn't a $1,000,000 penny, but it was still worth way more than any of my other pennies. The moral of the story? Always double-check your coins before you toss them in the jar. So, now you're probably wondering, how do you know if you've got one of these rare 1980 no mint mark pennies? The answer's simple. Check the coin closely. If you find a 1980 penny and it has no mint mark, make sure it's in good condition. The better the condition, the higher the value. But be careful. There are a lot of fakes out there, and that's where things can get tricky. Always have your coins authenticated by a professional if you're not sure. And here's the kicker. Even if you don't have the elusive 1980 no mint mark penny, that doesn't mean your coin collection is a lost cause. There are plenty of other coins that are worth way more than you'd think. Trust me, I've learned the hard way. I once found a coin I thought was just a dull old penny, only to realize it was worth far more than I expected. So, whether you're digging through your change jar, flipping through old coin rolls, or just casually going through your pockets after a long day, keep an eye out for that 1980 no mint mark penny. It might not be a guaranteed millionaire maker, but hey, you could be sitting on something special. If you've got a coin collection, or you're just starting to get into the hobby, I've got plenty more tips and tricks for you to uncover hidden treasures. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you won't miss any future videos on coins that could be worth serious money. Remember, it's not always the flashy gold and silver that's worth the most. Sometimes, it's the small, seemingly insignificant pennies that hold the biggest surprises. What if I told you that you might have a penny hiding in your pocket, jar, or couch cushions that's worth a fortune? That's right, we're talking millions. And no, I'm not pulling your leg. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1991 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, one of the most coveted coins for collectors. Spoiler alert, it's not your average penny. Stick around because by the end of this video, you might be inspired to grab a magnifying glass and start digging through your coin stash. Let's kick things off with the basics. What's so special about the 1991 no-mint mark Lincoln penny? Well, most pennies minted in 1991 came from facilities like Denver or San Francisco, which proudly stamped their coins with a tiny D or S. But every so often, a penny sneaks through without a mint mark. This can happen due to errors during production or simply because someone at the mint had an off day. And guess what? That tiny oversight can translate into a huge payday for you. Not all 1991 pennies are created equal. If yours is in pristine condition, what collectors call mint state, it could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. And if it has rare characteristics like a double die error, that's when we're talking serious money. One of these bad boys sold at auction for over $1 million. Yes, you heard that right. A penny. Sold for $1 million. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A few years back, I was helping my grandma clean out her attic. You know, just your typical Saturday. We found an old jar filled with pennies. My curiosity got the best of me, and I started inspecting each one, feeling like a pirate searching for treasure. Sure enough, I found a penny that looked off. My heart raced. Could this be the legendary 1991 no-mint mark penny? Long story short, it wasn't. But hey, the journey got me hooked on coin collecting. It's like a treasure hunt for grown-ups, and the best part? You never know what you'll find. So, how do you know if you've struck gold or, well, copper? First, take a close look at the date. Is it 1991? Check. Next, check for that mint mark. No D or S? Double check. If you think you have a winner, don't clean it. Seriously, don't. Cleaning can decrease the coin's value faster than you can say, cha-ching. Instead, take it to a professional coin appraiser or submit it to a grading service like PCGS or NGC. Here's the deal with market value. Coins like this sell for crazy prices because of their rarity and the demand among collectors. Right now, the coin market is hot, and unique finds like the 1991 no-mint mark penny are in high demand. Even if yours isn't worth $1 million, it could still fetch hundreds or thousands of dollars depending on its condition. Not bad for something you could find under your car seat, right? So, what are you waiting for? Grab that jar of spare change, raid your couch cushions, or ask Grandma if you can borrow her penny stash. Who knows? You might just uncover a fortune. And even if you don't, the hunt is half the fun. If you enjoyed this video and want to learn more about hidden treasures in everyday life, like coins, collectibles, or other things we overlook, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on my tips and strategies to find money in the most unexpected places. What if I told you a tiny, humble penny sitting in your change jar right now could be worth a life-changing $1 million? Yep, you heard that right, a single penny. Today, we're talking about the 1990 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. That's right, this seemingly unremarkable coin could turn you into a millionaire. Sounds crazy, right? Stick around because I'll tell you exactly why this penny is so special, how to spot one, and how it could make you richer than you ever thought possible. And trust me, this isn't just a pipe dream. I've got some wild stories to share. What's the deal with the 1990 no-mint mark Lincoln penny? First, a quick refresher for those who might not be total coin geeks. No judgment, by the way. Most US coins have a little letter on them, called a mint mark, that tells you where they were made, like D for Denver or S for San Francisco. But in 1990, a batch of pennies was minted without any mark at all. At first glance, they look like any regular penny you'd toss into a tip jar. But this tiny error makes them insanely valuable to collectors. These pennies were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Normally, Philadelphia pennies from that year should have a P mint mark, but somehow, the die used to create these coins missed it. Oops. That little mistake turned a 1-cent coin into a golden ticket for collectors. How much are we talking? Well, buckle up, because one of these bad boys sold for, wait for it, $1.1 million at an auction. Yes, $1.1 million. Imagine trying to buy a soda with a penny, only to find out you just handed over a small fortune. Speaking of surprises, let me tell you a quick story. A few months ago, I was helping my uncle clean out his attic. He's a bit of a pack rat, so there were jars of coins everywhere. As we sorted through them, he said, some of these coins might actually be worth something. I laughed it off, thinking he was just being dramatic. But then, we found this old, dull-looking penny. No mint mark. My heart skipped a beat. Could it be? Spoiler alert, it wasn't. But the thrill of that moment got me hooked on researching rare coins, and here I am, telling you how you could hit the jackpot. How to spot a 1990 no mint mark penny. So, how do you know if you have one of these gems? Grab your magnifying glass, or just squint really hard, and look for the date. It should read 1990. Check for the mint mark. If it's missing, you might just be holding a fortune. To be sure, have it authenticated by a professional coin dealer. There are fakes out there. Don't fall for those shady online sellers claiming they have authentic, no mint mark pennies for cheap. Trust me, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Now, let's talk about the market. While $1.1 million is the record, the value of a 1990 no mint mark penny depends on its condition. A pristine, uncirculated coin can fetch a fortune, but even a slightly worn one can go for thousands of dollars. Either way, it's worth checking that jar of pennies on your kitchen counter. All right, folks, let's wrap this up. If you've got a 1990 penny lying around, take a closer look. You might just be holding a ticket to financial freedom. Who knew a simple coin could be worth so much? And if you're like me, digging through your spare change is suddenly your new favorite hobby. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I've got plenty more tips coming your way on coins, collectibles, and hidden treasures that could make you rich. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. What if I told you that there's a penny out there, maybe even sitting in your couch cushions or at the bottom of your junk drawer, that could be worth millions of dollars? That's right. I'm talking about the 1965 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sounds crazy, right? But before you start tearing apart your house looking for loose change, let's break this down. Stick around because not only are we going to dive into what makes this humble penny so special, but I'm also going to share a funny story about how I almost missed out on a valuable coin myself. Trust me, you don't want to make the same mistake. So, let's start with the basics. The 1965 Lincoln penny was minted during a pretty interesting time in U.S. coin history. Back then, the U.S. Mint was dealing with a coin shortage. Yes, even pennies were in high demand. To keep things moving, they decided to stop stamping mint marks on coins for a few years. That's why you won't see a mint mark on any penny from 1965. But here's where things get juicy. Most 1965 pennies are made of copper, and there are literally billions of them out there. They're not rare, at all. But, and this is a big but, some of these pennies were struck on the wrong type of metal. A few lucky pennies ended up being minted on leftover silver planchets, the metal blanks used to make coins, from the previous year. These rare errors are the ones making headlines and selling for jaw-dropping amounts at auctions. We're talking hundreds of thousands, sometimes even millions of dollars. To the untrained eye, these rare error coins might look like any old penny. So how can you tell if you've struck gold, silver? First, check the weight. A regular 1965 penny weighs about 3.11 grams. But if you've got one of the silver planchet errors, it'll weigh closer to 2.5 grams. If you don't have a scale at home, don't worry, just take it to your local coin shop. They'll be more than happy to help you out. But wait, there's more. Condition matters, too. If your penny is scratched up or has seen better days, it's probably not worth much, even if it's a rare error. Collectors and auction houses are always looking for coins in pristine condition. That's why it pays, pun intended, to keep your coins safe and clean. Now, here's where I almost dropped the ball. A few years ago, I inherited a small box of coins from my grandfather. Nothing fancy, just a bunch of pennies, nickels, and some random foreign coins. I almost tossed the whole thing aside because, let's be real, who gets excited about pennies? But something told me to take a closer look. And guess what? I found a 1965 penny that looked a little off. Turns out, it was an error coin. Not one of the super rare silver planchets, but still worth a cool $1,000. That little penny ended up paying for a weekend getaway. Moral of the story? Never underestimate the power of loose change. So, there you have it. The 1965 no-mint mark penny might just be the most exciting coin you've ever overlooked. Sure, the odds of finding one of those rare silver era coins are slim, but hey, it costs you nothing to check. Who knows? You could be sitting on a literal treasure and not even know it if you found this video helpful, or if you just love learning about how everyday coins can be worth a fortune. Hit that subscribe button. I'll be dropping more tips, tricks, and strategies for spotting coins worth serious cash. Don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and let me know in the comments. Have you ever found a coin worth more than face value? What if I told you that there's a penny out there, maybe even sitting in your couch cushions or at the bottom of your junk drawer, that could be worth millions of dollars? That's right. I'm talking about the 1965 no-mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Sounds crazy, right? But before you start tearing apart your house looking for loose change, let's break this down. Stick around because not only are we going to dive into what makes this humble penny so special, but I'm also going to share a funny story about how I almost missed out on a valuable coin myself. Trust me, you don't want to make the same mistake. So, let's start with the basics. The 1965 Lincoln penny was minted during a pretty interesting time in U.S. coin history. Back then, the U.S. Mint was dealing with a coin shortage. Yes, even pennies were in high demand. To keep things moving, they decided to stop stamping mint marks on coins for a few years. That's why you won't see a mint mark on any penny from 1965. But here's where things get juicy. Most 1965 pennies are made of copper, and there are literally billions of them out there. They're not rare, like, at all. But, and this is a big but, some of these pennies were struck on the wrong type of metal. A few lucky pennies ended up being minted on leftover silver planchets, the metal blanks used to make coins, from the previous year. These rare errors are the ones making headlines and selling for jaw-dropping amounts at auctions. We're talking hundreds of thousands, sometimes even millions of dollars. To the untrained eye, these rare error coins might look like any old penny. So how can you tell if you've struck gold, or silver? First, check the weight. A regular 1965 penny weighs about 3.11 grams. But if you've got one of the silver planchet errors, it'll weigh closer to 2.5 grams. If you don't have a scale at home, don't worry, just take it to your local coin shop. They'll be more than happy to help you out. But wait, there's more. Condition matters, too. If your penny is scratched up or has seen better days, it's probably not worth much, even if it's a rare error. Collectors and auction houses are always looking for coins in pristine condition. That's why it pays, pun intended, to keep your coins safe and clean. Now, here's where I almost dropped the ball. A few years ago, I inherited a small box of coins from my grandfather. Nothing fancy, just a bunch of pennies, nickels, and some random foreign coins. I almost tossed the whole thing aside because, let's be real, who gets excited about pennies? But something told me to take a closer look. And guess what? I found a 1965 penny that looked a little off. Turns out, it was an error coin. Not one of the super rare silver planchets, but still worth a cool $1,000. That little penny ended up paying for a weekend getaway. Moral of the story? Never underestimate the power of loose change. So, there you have it. The 1965 no-mint mark penny might just be the most exciting coin you've ever overlooked. Sure, the odds of finding one of those rare silver era coins are slim, but hey, it costs you nothing to check. Who knows? You could be sitting on a literal treasure and not even know it if you found this video helpful, or if you just love learning about how everyday coins can be worth a fortune. Hit that subscribe button. I'll be dropping more tips, tricks, and strategies for spotting coins worth serious cash. Don't forget to like the video, share it with your friends, and let me know in the comments. Have you ever found a coin worth more than face value? Have you ever thought you might be sitting on a small fortune just by holding on to a penny? Sounds crazy, right? Well, trust me, today's topic is going to blow your mind. We're talking about the 1961 mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and the crazy truth is, some of these pennies are worth $1 million. Yes, you heard me right, million. Now, before you run off and start sifting through your piggy banks and couch cushions, stick around, because I'm about to tell you why this little copper coin is causing such a stir. And trust me, you'll want to know everything about it.so. let's take it back to 1961. The world was a whole different place. People were listening to rock and roll. Fashion was, well, questionable. Hello, bell-bottoms? And the penny, well, it was just another coin you toss into your jar to forget about. Fast forward to today, and that very same 1961 penny could be worth a small fortune. But why, you ask? All right, let's break it down. The 1961 Lincoln penny is often overlooked because it's a regular penny, right? It's not some shiny limited edition. But here's the kicker. There's a rare variety that was struck with a die that had a small minting error. This error caused the coins to be much more valuable than what their face value suggests. Essentially, there's a small group of these pennies floating around that are in near mint condition, and I mean mint as in highly valuable, not fresh from the US Mint. These error coins are incredibly rare, and in perfect condition, they can fetch, wait for it, up to $1 million. Now, I know what you're thinking. But how do I know if I've got one of these $1 million pennies in my pocket? Well, here's the tricky part. These coins are so rare that even the ones that have only the tiniest imperfections are worth a pretty penny. Pun totally intended. We're talking about uncirculated coins, meaning they've been kept in pristine condition and have never seen the inside of your dirty pockets or the bottom of your purse. Let me share a quick story from my own life. A few years ago, I found an old penny while I was cleaning out my grandfather's drawer. Now, I didn't think much of it. It was just a random penny that looked a little dusty, but I hung on to it, thinking, who knows, maybe it's worth something. Fast forward a few months, and I took it to a local coin shop just for fun, and guess what? It turned out to be an extremely rare variety. While it wasn't $1 million penny, it was still worth over $1,000. Moral of the story? You never know what kind of hidden gems are lying around in your pockets, drawers, or even your couch cushions. But back to the 1961 penny. If you're lucky enough to have one of these coins in perfect shape, you might be sitting on a small fortune. And let's be real, who wouldn't want to find a coin that could change their life? Now, here's how you can tell if your 1961 penny is a rare one. The trick is to look for a sharp, crisp image of Abraham Lincoln's face on the front and the reverse side with clear details. The coin should have no signs of wear, fading, or damage. If it's been sitting in your change jar for years and looks beat up, well, sorry, it's probably not going to make you a millionaire. But if you find one that looks fresh, shiny, and free of any scuff marks, get that baby evaluated. And don't just assume the coin shop down the street will recognize its value. Many of these rare pennies are being sold at auctions for tens, if not hundreds, of thousands of dollars. So, be sure to get a professional opinion. So, what's the takeaway here? The 1961 Lincoln penny might just be that hidden treasure in your change jar. Whether it's worth a few bucks or a few million, it's definitely worth taking a second look at those old coins you've been ignoring. Trust me, I learned that the hard way after tossing a rare penny aside just because it looked a little worn out. Don't make the same mistake I did. Before you run off to check your coin collection or your grandma's coin jar, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you love finding out about coins worth more than their face value, you'll definitely want to stick around. We've got plenty more tips and tricks to help you unlock hidden treasures in your pockets, drawers, or wherever you store your change. If you're like me, you've probably found an old penny lying around and thought, well, this isn't worth much, is it? But hold on to your seats because I'm about to drop some knowledge that could make your jaw hit the floor. What if I told you that one specific penny from 1985, with no mint mark, could be worth millions of dollars? Yeah, you heard that right, millions. But before you start diving through your couch cushions looking for this golden nugget, let's dive into the details. The 1985 no mint mark Lincoln penny. What's the big deal? All right, so you might be wondering, what's so special about a penny from 1985? Let me tell you, not all pennies are created equal. In fact, most of them aren't worth more than a cent, or if you're lucky, maybe a little extra at the coin collector's shop. But this 1985 Lincoln penny? Oh, it's a rare bird. The 1985 penny that doesn't have a mint mark is an error coin. That means the US Mint didn't stamp a mint mark on it. Normally, the mint mark tells you where the penny was made, whether it's Denver, D, Philadelphia, P, or San Francisco, S. But in 1985, something went wrong, and a handful of pennies didn't get their mint marks at all. And that's where the treasure hunt begins. How can one little penny be worth a fortune? So, why does this little error coin matter? The short version: scarcity equals value. Only a few of these 1985 pennies were made without a mint mark, which makes them incredibly rare. And rarity in the coin world means big bucks. We're talking up to $1 million now. I know what you're thinking. How do I even know if I have one of these $1 million pennies? Well, here's the deal. First, take a look at the coin and check if there's a mint mark. If there's nothing, then you might just be holding a very valuable piece of US history in your hand. But it doesn't stop there. Condition matters too. If it's in pristine shape, it's worth even more. A personal story, my own eureka moment with a coin now. I've got to tell you a little story. A few years back, I was going through a jar of loose change that I had kept around for ages. You know, the kind that sits at the bottom of your drawer, collecting dust, never seen again. Well, I was cleaning out my junk drawer and found a penny that caught my eye. It looked a little older, but I didn't think much of it at first. I almost tossed it back in the jar until I remembered hearing about rare coins being hidden in plain sight. So, I did a quick check. No mint mark. I'll be honest. My heart started to race a little. I thought, could it be? Could I have just stumbled upon a tiny treasure trove? I ran a few quick checks on Google because, let's face it, we all trust Google more than anything these days, and sure enough, it was an error coin. Now, I'm not saying I found $1 million coin, but you better believe I'm holding on to that penny just in case. Moral of the story? You never know when you might find something valuable right under your nose, literally. All right, enough with the suspense. Let's talk numbers. So, what's the actual value of this rare 1985 no mint mark penny? Depending on the condition, these pennies can fetch anywhere from a couple $100 to several $1,000s. But if you've got one in mint condition, pun intended, you're looking at something worth, quite possibly, up to $1 million. I mean, think about that. A penny, worth more than your car. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling pretty good about my penny now. So, the next time you find a penny lying on the ground, don't just brush it off. Take a moment, flip it over, and check for that mint mark, or the lack of it. You could be holding on to a small fortune that might just change your life. And hey, if you're curious about other coins that might be worth big bucks, or you want more tips on how to spot hidden gems in your pocket change, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss out on the next big coin discovery. After all, you don't have to be a millionaire to start collecting like one. All right, treasure hunters, keep your eyes peeled, your coins clean, and your wallets full. Hey there, coin lovers. Hold on to your pockets, because I've got a story that might just make your jaw drop. You know those pennies we all have lying around in jars, in the couch cushions, or tucked away in drawers? Well, what if I told you that one of those pennies could be worth a small fortune? Yep, we're talking about the 2000 penny with an O mint mark. Does that sound familiar? Probably not, because it's not your everyday find. But trust me, it might just be sitting right under your nose, or in your change jar, waiting to make you a millionaire. Stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll know if that random penny you just found in the street is the ticket to riches, or, at least a cool little profit. Let's dive in. All right, so let's get into it. Back in 2000, the US Mint decided to make a special set of pennies. For the most part, they produced millions of those shiny little copper coins with the usual D for Denver or S for San Francisco mint marks. But here's the kicker. They also made a handful of 2000 pennies with no mint mark at all. Now, you might be wondering, why is this important? It's just a penny, right? Wrong. This is where it gets exciting. These 2000 pennies without a mint mark, often called the no mint mark pennies, are extremely rare. And when something is rare, you know what that means: demand. People go absolutely crazy for rare coins. It's like finding an old, rare toy from your childhood that everyone's been looking for. And guess what? The value of these rare pennies has been skyrocketing. But before you start scouring your change, let's break down exactly what makes these pennies so valuable. First off, the 2000 no mint mark penny was supposed to be made only at the Philadelphia Mint. But guess what? A few of them got out without the usual P mint mark on them. And that's what makes them incredibly valuable today. Now, you might think, a penny? Worth a fortune? You must be kidding. But here's the twist. The current market value for a 2000 no-mint mark penny could be in the millions. That's right, millions. This isn't just some cute little novelty coin. These babies have become some of the most sought-after coins in the world. Now, you might be saying, hold up. Are we talking about the exact same pennies that I've been tossing in the tip jar all these years? Yes. Well, maybe not exactly the same ones, but potentially. The real kicker here is how many are out there, and how many of them are in good enough condition to be considered valuable. If you've got one of these in your collection, you might have an incredible treasure on your hands. The best part? You don't even have to spend years digging through coin rolls or checking for mint marks. That's right. Some of these pennies have been found just lying around in everyday change. Imagine walking into a store, handing over a handful of pennies, and realizing you've just given away a fortune. Ouch. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I was going through my own change jar, thinking I was just going to find some old pennies that weren't worth much. You know how it goes. You toss the change in, forget about it, and move on with life. But I'm telling you, I hit the jackpot when I found a random 2000 penny. At first, I thought, just another penny. But something told me to double check. I popped it under a magnifying glass and boom, no mint mark. It wasn't the $1 million find I was hoping for, unfortunately, but it was still a pretty awesome surprise to find something rare just hanging out in my old coin jar. Moral of the story? You can find valuable stuff in the places you least expect. Now, before you get too excited, you're probably wondering how to actually tell if your penny is one of the rare ones. Here's the deal. To check if you have a 2000 no mint mark penny, first, look at the front. Normally, the mint mark for a penny will be on the front, right beneath Abraham Lincoln's chin. If there's no mint mark there, you've got a pretty good chance you've got the rare version. But don't get carried away just yet. Condition matters. Coins in good condition are worth way more than those that are worn down. So if your penny is in rough shape, like it's seen better days, with scratches and fading, that could affect its value. But still, even a well-worn no-mint mark penny can be worth a good chunk of change. Alright, so what's the bottom line here? If you've got a 2000 penny with no mint mark, you might just have a gold mine sitting in your pocket. While most of us wouldn't think twice about tossing a penny into the tip jar or under the couch cushions, it turns out that this little coin could be worth millions in the right condition. So, before you toss any more pennies into the change jar, take a minute to check for that elusive no mint mark. And hey, if you're not sure how to tell if your coins are worth something, be sure to subscribe for more tips and tricks on finding valuable coins. Because you never know when your next penny could make you a millionaire. And remember, keep those pennies coming. Who knows, maybe your next 2000 penny will be the one that pays off big. Don't forget to subscribe for more coin tips and strategies. I'll be back soon with more ways to turn your loose change into something amazing. If you found this video helpful, smash that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a coin tip. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Hey there, coin collectors and curious treasure hunters. Now, before you click away thinking, a penny's a penny, what's the big deal? Let me stop you right there. What if I told you there's a penny out there that could make you millions of dollars? Yes, you heard me right, millions. It's a 1982 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny, and trust me, it's not your run-of-the-mill pocket change. This little guy could be sitting in your collection, your jar of loose change, or maybe even in that dusty drawer you never check. So, sit tight because today, we're diving into why this coin is worth way more than its face value, and how you might be sitting on a literal gold mine. Alright, let's rewind a bit to 1982, when this penny was first minted. Now, 1982 is a key year for US pennies. You see, in 1982, the US made a big change in the composition of the penny. They switched from 95% copper to a mix of copper and zinc because, let's face it, copper was getting expensive. The 1982 D penny is different. Why? Because of a small minting error. Instead of being the usual copper-zinc blend, there were a small number of pennies that were mistakenly made with a higher percentage of copper, making them more valuable than other pennies from that year. This accidental mix-up caused them to be much rarer than your average 1982 D penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. Okay, cool, but why is it worth so much? Well, here's where it gets interesting. This penny, thanks to its rare composition, could be worth a lot more than a penny. In fact, Some of these 1982 D pennies have been sold for over $1 million at auction. $1 million. Now, don't go running to your coin jar just yet. Not every 1982 D penny is worth that kind of money. It depends on the condition, the exact composition, and whether it's been properly authenticated. Now, I've got to be honest here. I didn't always know how rare these things were. Let me tell you a little story about how I got into coin collecting, and it involves a mistake that could have cost me big time. So, I was at a flea market a few years back, just browsing around when I spotted this old jar of pennies. The seller, an older guy who looked like he'd been collecting coins longer than I'd been alive, was asking for a pretty low price. Now, I didn't know much about coins back then. I thought, a penny's a penny. This isn't anything special. But something told me to grab it, so I did. Fast forward a couple of weeks, and I'm digging through the jar when I stumble upon a 1982 D penny. Something about it looked off, like it was just different. I decided to get it checked out by a coin expert, and guess what? It turns out it was one of those super rare 1982 D pennies. I had nearly thrown it away, thinking it was just another piece of loose change. Lucky for me, I didn't make that mistake. That little penny is now worth a small fortune. So, moral of the story? Don't overlook your pennies, because you never know when you could strike gold. Or in this case, copper. Now, let's talk about how you can spot one of these $1 million pennies. First off, you need to look at the mint mark. It's right under Lincoln's bust, and if it's a D, well, you might just have yourself a treasure. But don't stop there. Condition matters. Coins in better shape are worth a lot more. The cleaner, the shinier, the higher the potential value. Next, if you think you've found one, get it authenticated. It's worth the extra step to ensure it's the real deal and not just another penny that's been circulating for decades. Alright, so there you have it. That little penny from 1982 with a D mint mark could be worth a whole lot more than you think, and in some cases, a whole lot more than just pocket change. So before you toss those pennies into the jar or toss them into your laundry machine, we've all done it. Take a second to check them out. You might just find yourself holding on to a small piece of history that's worth a fortune. And hey, if you found this tip helpful, make sure to subscribe to the channel. We've got plenty more tips, tricks, and secrets about coins that could help you turn your collection into something seriously valuable. So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, and who knows, maybe next time, you'll be the one telling your friends about your $1 million